founded the French Evolution Artificielle Association. And then, last but not least, well, it's not last because it's not finished, but what I'm particularly grateful to Evelyn is that I could join INRIA in her team, Fractal team, in 2001. So thanks to her. But let's go back to Evelyn. Evelyn graduated in 1986 in Telecom Paris, which is the most renowned school, engineering school on telecommunication, as the name says. Then she got a PhD, let's say in image processing and habilitation à diriger les recherches, which is the last ultimate academic grade in 1999. Then she was researcher at INRIA from 1991 to 2013, and this is where she was heading the Fractal group, where I could join INRIA. But she's now senior researcher at INRAE, so don't misunderstanding all these acronyms. So INRAE is a National French Institute of Research on Agriculture, Food, and Environment. So in the MATNIM department, as you can read on the screen. But she's located also in the Institut des Systèmes Complexes, so Complex System Institute in downtown Paris. So if you want to visit her, you don't have to come far away, like if you want to visit me, but you can visit just staying in downtown Paris. So as I said, he was the co-creator of the French Evolution Artificielle Conference that runs every, maybe I was not holding the mic well, that runs every second year, every odd year. And now we're both on the advisory committee of this conference, but she also organized Fractal in Engineering conference and was chair of EuroGP 2002, which is also relevant to this audience. Now she did a lot of work in starting with image processing, as I said, the topic of her PhD, then going to fractal, which is a kind of image processing, of course, to evolutionary computation. And evolutionary computation, she worked particularly on interactive evolution, and she was really pioneering there. And cooperative coevolution with, as you can read also on the screen, will be the topic of our call today. She has worked on many applications, from image, of course, signal processing, medical imaging, and of course at INRAE, agri-food process modeling, sorry. Last but not least, she's a co-founder with Emmanuel Kela, a French artist, of a startup company based on her system to do interactive evolution with fractal images. And just to tell you one anecdote about Emmanuel and this system. So Emmanuel was an artist, and he liked to play with the system, and so he got generations after generations of images, and it's stored in some library, or whatever you call it. The images he liked the most, and then he said that after some time, he had this library of the ones he liked best, and he used it as a palette. I don't know if it's palette the word, where the painters have all these colors. And so he chose one, another, and then he put them an initial population to generate new images from these seeds. So that's one way of using interactive evolution we had not really thought about before. Okay, but without further ado, let's hear Evelyn exploring the interplay between cooperation and competition in evolutionary computation. Evelyn, the floor is yours. Hello? We don't hear you. You're muted, so it's on your side.
Sorry. So I forgot my mic. So thank you, Mark, for this very kind presentation, and I'm very proud to work all these years with you and with all of you. So it's a nice story of my life, I think. Thanks again for this invitation. I'm very proud to make this talk today. But of course, I would like to apologize because I'm not here with you in Brno. Circumstances beyond my control forced me to stay in France at the last moment, which I regret. And it's unfortunate, since I would have liked to provoke a discussion with this presentation. So after my talk, please do not hesitate to contact me to comment, contradict, add things, and so on. I will be very happy to continue the discussion with you. So as Mark said, I spent 20 years of research in a computer science institute in Ria. And 10 years ago, exactly, I entered another institute, the French Institute for Agronomy and so on, to work on some, let's say, concrete applications. Sorry, I'm trying to go to the next slide. Do you see it? Well, it works. So in this place, I had to address very complex applications of optimization using my favorite tool, which is yours too, evolutionary algorithm. And the problems were very challenging. Challenging also because I had to interact with people who were not computer scientists. They came from very different domains. So I learned a lot, and I had also to learn how to answer their questions, because their questions were not so easy to turn into an optimization task. In particular, because it was involving a lot of intricate criteria. So it triggered the use of multi-objective techniques, but the answer they expect is not a Pareto front. So providing a Pareto front as an answer is sometimes very puzzling to them. So this is a point, a very important point in front of which I had to work. Another point is that while discussing and doing research with those people, I had to deal with research questions that evolve. So this is why using interactive techniques is useful, because it helps also them to, let's say, elaborate a research question or refine their research question till they get an answer that is satisfying for them. So so it's an important feature for this type of applications. Usually in doing so, I had to interact with one people, but sometimes I had to interact with a group of experts, and to deal with interactive techniques, interactive software that were able to interact with a set of users. And sometimes years going, I'm getting interested more and more in what we call many users applications, so many users interactions. And this is a very particular framework that is very challenging for INRAE, which is the participative frameworks, where you have to interact with a crowd, a lot of people, to build some databases or some knowledge, shared knowledge, or some models sometimes. To give you an example, perhaps did you manipulate something called PlantNet on your laptop, on your iPhone or your smartphone? This is an application that is helpful for people who go into nature and want to identify plants, but also, so it's the service that this application is giving to the users. But in the same times, this interaction, if the user agrees, during this interaction, you can share your position and so on. So this way, let's say the database is capable of collecting information about the distribution of some varieties, some plant varieties, and so on, in order to follow diversity loss, and so on. So it's a very important application that is now spread, I think, almost around the world. So it's a huge success story for INRAE. So this initiative is now independent from INRAE, but it was initiated at the institute. So this is a very important topic in the institute. And at the moment, I'm advising a PhD that tries to do the same, or in a very modest way, in the first time, to qualify the quality of the soil. And the intention is to help decision making in, for instance, the decision of preserving some areas for diversity. So for instance, ecosystemic services, or to accept an artificialization of some other areas. So those decisions are very important to take and necessitate sometimes to get information from a variety of people. So this is a reason why I'm more and more interested in cooperation, and in cooperation at large scale. So the aim of my keynote is actually not to give impressive results, new results, and so on. Actually, I will reuse old stuff and look backward with some examples of my own experience and some other examples. I want to open a discussion about something I feel perhaps less or little explored in our domain. So I do not intend to, let's say, explore a reason why these topics are little explored or not fashionable at the moment. I think it's valid at the moment here, but I want to make a sidestep and try to share with you what is intriguing for me. So what intrigues me is the power of the collective. So this is a fact that is amazing, and of course for us, because we are interested in population-based algorithm. So it's something that we have noticed in a lot of situations in natural ecosystem, in human societies, and now more recently in artificial ecosystems. So it's a topic that is currently doing an eruption in the domain of AI, and people are starting to talk more and more about population-based AI. So it's an opportunity also for our domain, but I think we need to perhaps look at it in different ways to progress on this question. So I was talking about collective intelligence. So we can give definitions. There are a lot of definitions for collective intelligence. So collective intelligence can be defined as the ability of a group or society to solve problems and make decisions more effectively than an individual member alone of that group of society. So this is known since many years. It has been also theorized very early. We found a jury theorem of the Marquis of Condorcet in France, who says if each member of a voting group is more likely than not to make a correct decision, the probability that the highest vote of the group is the correct decision increases with the number of members of this group. So it's in 17, so end of 18th century. So it's something that is known. So it's nothing new. This fact is also known as the wisdom of crowds. So I think it's well, it's quite similar. Perhaps there are some subtleties I missed, but anyway, it's quite similar. So it is known since Aristotle, because in his essay about politics, he says the majority, each member of which is not a remarkable man, is nevertheless above superior man. And it is said also that Sir Francis Galton, which I discovered it is a cousin of Charles Darwin. He was surprised while watching betting games, and especially what they call cattle fair games, where they have in fairs, they have to guess the weight of meat you can get from a carcass. So something very practical. And there were some competitions there, and he observed those competitions. And he noted several hundreds of those competitions, and he discovered that in the median of let's say the prediction of all the people was very, very precise. He says 10 to the -3. So and also I've noticed and made some literature review. I noticed also in, let's say, a public book for the public, that there are a lot of claims about the importance of collective intelligence, or let's say the people start to be more and more aware of this property of collective societies. So, for instance, in a book in French named La Sculpture du Vivant, the author says collective intelligence exists right down to the core, and he gives an example of the example of the immune system. And also some CEOs of successful startups. I heard a talk a few months ago from Pierre Haran, who was a former researcher from INRIA, where he was claiming the future of humanity is collective AI. So it's something that is jumping to us at the beginning of the first 21st century. So now, having said that, we let's say the next step is to understand or try to understand the mechanism of collective intelligence. And there are a lot of work, not only in computer science, but also in social sciences, in education and other domains. And for instance, I found a diversity prediction theorem written in 2007 by Scott Page, which is a mathematician and a sociologist. And he says the error of a collective estimate, being the average of the estimates, is equal to the average error of the individual estimates minus the diversity of the estimates. So now they there is a touch added here in the understanding of the let's say the wisdom of crowd, is that diversity is very important. Okay, so it's a fact. There are other authors that says, for instance, that the component of collective intelligence is diversity, independence, decentralization, aggregation, trust, and also there are some also public general public books, like the one of Émile Servan-Schreiber, named Super Collectif in France, so translated in Super Collective in English, published in 2018, where he says diversity is the engine of collective intelligence. It's not a moral imperative, it's a mathematical truth. Digital tools enable this on a very large scale. This is what I call the super collective. And he displays in this book many nice figures, including the one that I produced in this slide. It's in French. Sorry, I did not find the translation for the moment. But he deciphers the important features of collective intelligence as independence, decentralization, and diversity. Well, that's it. Oh, yes. In this book, let me make a short feminist interlude just for fun, because I found in this book a figure where they say that groups where women are in majority are more intelligent than groups where they are not. Because in some social science, they were able to derive a measurement of IQ of a group. And so they have made a lot of different experiences with different groups, measuring the IQ of the group, the IQ of the individual, and so on, and making many nice curves like that. So the idea here is that women, being less competitive for perhaps cultural reasons, are therefore better in the collective work. So interesting. That was a parenthesis, but just for fun. Let's continue about the understanding of collective intelligence in the domain in the social science. They also focus, or they also explain that cooperation and also connected notions like coordination and collaboration are something that is important, or that may explain the power of collective intelligence. So there are, I provide the various figures to explain that, but well, the idea is that diversity cooperation are quite perhaps the basic, or are the basic mechanics of collective intelligence. Of course, in game theory, there is a huge quantity of publications and work that explain and explore those collective intelligence effects, and the fact that in some conditions cooperation emerge and persist and is even in evolutionary or evolving environments. So there are some theory since a long time, like the book of Axelrod in 1984, or there are also now some software that are available at online, where you can test yourself the various setups and observe those effects. So it's something not new, known, and well explored. So what I found perhaps more interesting in my exploration of this topic is something I found in a PhD published and defended in 2002 at MIT by a guy named Lik Mui. And he says something I found very interesting, is that Darwin's theory of evolution argues for the survival of the fittest, but does not specify a unit for fitness measure. By fittest, one could mean the individual, the population, the gene, or the organization around a group of agents. Each interpretation calls for very different models for natural for how natural selection works. So I reproduce one of his slides from his slideshow, and he gives some references for each of the, let's say, the level where we compute, or where we affect fitness to the system. So individual, group, genes, organization. And if we focus the reward on some components, we get an evolutionary system that works differently. So this is very interesting because actually understanding why collective intelligence works is a very important topic and so on. But now, if we want to use it as an optimization tool or as a way to solve problems in a computer, then we need something more than just understanding. I think, well, this is something that is also clear in some publications from Volpert and Tumor in 2008, where they talk about collective intelligence, coin in French, so the shout of the duck for French people. And they considered large distributed systems with a few centralized communication or no centralized communication. And well, there are a lot of very interesting stuff in this paper, but what was interesting to me is the fact that he asked the question of what reward function for the individual agents will, when pursued by those agents, result in high world utility. So he puts the finger on this issue, which is the design, which is a real challenge. So the question, the terrible question is, how can we use this cooperative force, or this cooperative, the wisdom of crowd, in other words, to solve our problem or to make our algorithm? So let's go back to the basics of our domain. And the way we, let's say, usually transform the Darwin principle into an algorithm is to translate the three main principles into three components in our algorithm. So we manipulate populations. So, of course, population is intrinsically something that looks cooperative or is cooperative. We use selection to make the parallel with natural selection, and we use genetic operators to make variation and to implement the inheritance effect. Okay, so this is a way to implement a cooperation, and this is something we experiment every day in our community. So, in a way, cooperation already exists in EA. We have a perspective on cooperation with an evolutionary algorithm, while using it for optimization by telling one individual is one solution. Then we get a mechanism that is able to concentrate the population on two big peaks and so on, and well, that's it. So we have a part which is which may be understood as cooperation by, let's say, a sort of intrinsic cooperation from the population. Some cooperation components, small cooperation component, when you use a crossover, because two parents are cooperating to create a child that probably is better than the two parents, or hopefully. And after that, we have a competition component. So in a way, we have chosen a trade-off between competition and cooperation. But in a way, this cooperation is used to push the fittest individual higher. So it's a cooperation at the service of competition. So in the same way as we have an exploration-exploitation trade-off, and this is understood by theoretical analysis of our algorithm, we have a competition-cooperation trade-off. So the question is, are we able to manipulate or to force cooperation or to tune this cooperation component in a different way? So the answer is yes, since years. And for instance, there are some works from Potter and de Jong. It was in 1989, where they propose a cooperative coevolution. So we force cooperation with our system by using two or more populations. We use a fitness computation that needs to associate individuals, one for each population, and then we have to, let's say, study various association, various strategies, and best average random individual for each population to get some application, successful application and nice application, and a behavior that we can control and use for optimization. There are other solutions also proposed a long time ago by Goldberg, Hollande, and perhaps people before them, where we use a different way to force cooperation inside an evolutionary algorithm, a genetic algorithm. Then it's the classifier system approach, where the whole population of the classifier is the solution. We want to have a population that answers the question instead of one individual. So I think it's the great novelty and great interest of those approaches is the fact that we look, as I said before, as we look on the fitness evaluation at a different level. So, but the difficulty, let's say, to embed this scheme into a classical GA or to use a classical GA in this scheme is to compute or to build a fitness function that makes the genetic algorithm work correctly. So they have designed a reward process with this nice, rather complicated algorithm named Bucket Brigade to report the evaluation of the global system to the individual. So we had to revisit the fitness calculation with a complex procedure. In 2006 or 2007, I don't remember, sorry, Gabriela Okoa, my friend Gabriela, came to my lab, and we spent some time in trying to understand what was the landscape at the moment, the landscape of this type of methods based on cooperation. And we during this literature review, we noticed that there were two main trends, multi-population and monopopulation. And those two approaches were using more competition or more cooperation, and then can be classified as competitive or cooperative. Right. Okay, so this was the trend. So in a way, and also I had the impression at the time that the monopopulation approach was more difficult to use or more difficult to design. But recently this year, I've seen that there is a paper where they use also this approach with a single cooperation, a cooperative coevolution into a single population. So it's something that is done more and more, I would say. So what did I say till now? If we want to use cooperation, we need to revisit the notion of fitness. But anyway, if we want to put it inside a genetic algorithm, we need to give a fitness seen by the individual that is computable. So usually when you do something like monopopulation or multi-population cooperative coevolution, you need to have a fitness function that takes into account two parts. So it's a function of two components. A component, let's say a local component, the fitness of the individual itself, and the fitness coming from the cooperation of the individual with the others. So this is first point. And using this, then we can use the classical scheme and use the capability of the population to concentrate on good areas. So, okay. But in doing this experimentally, we notice that diversity is even more important to avoid degenerate solution where all individuals are accumulated on a single peak and on the same solution. So I think you see that in relationship with what I've said before now. So let's go back to this PhD in 2002, where he was explaining that cooperation can occur at different levels. So at the moment in the bibliography, we have seen, on the literature review, we have seen that there are proposed algorithms at the individual level with multi-population techniques, and at the population level with monopopulation techniques. As far as I know, I did not see much approaches where we are dealing with other levels. So I think it's an interesting and perhaps very challenging path to force cooperation inside evolutionary algorithms. Let me just mention an experiment that has been done with an algorithm proposed by my colleague Alberto Tonda and Giovanni Squilero, where they were trying explicitly to build group and evolution working on groups using a technique. So it's a paper we published in 2011, where they explicitly built groups. And so they were using a population with two levels, level of group individual and level of groups, with associated genetic operators at the level of groups and at the level of individuals. So it was, let's say, a first trial, which has interesting properties, but well, anyway, it's difficult to define the fitness in connection with the problem we want to solve. So the main difficulty of those techniques, even if we are very clever in trying to push or to control cooperation, turning an optimization problem into a cooperative coevolution is something that is extremely difficult anyway. So to continue, let me talk about an approach we developed in the spirit of the classifier system approach, which is the FLY algorithm. So the idea was it was developed by my colleague Jean Louchet for an application in stereo vision. The problem is when you have two different viewpoints taken with a camera of a scene, if you want to reconstruct the 3D, the depth information, then you need to do some not so easy computations. So it's a challenge for robot vision, and there are plenty of algorithms that are dealing with this. So coming from the domain of image processing, I know very well those techniques. They are doing quite sophisticated image segmentation and so on, and image matching. And well, so it provides algorithms that are computationally heavy sometimes. So even if we make a lot of nice progress on this domain, it's heavy. So the idea of Jean was to turn this problem into a quick and dirty problem. The idea was to say, let's look at the problem in the reverse way. So not trying to reconstruct from image, but trying to see if the image are compatible with the guess. And this can be formulated as an optimization problem. And intrinsically, the way we formulate this problem was exactly good, or was good for a cooperation coevolution scheme. So the idea is to say, if we have a point, it is called fly, but anyway, it's another story. But if we have a point that is in the air, so not in a visible surface of the scene, then if you compute the projection on the two cameras, like for the fly A, you have an image A1 and A2. And if you look at what the camera is seeing, you can notice that A2 is seeing this area, A1 is seeing this area. So there is no reason to have something in the image similar. So in a way, we have a measurement of the quality of this point in terms of, is it on the surface or is it in the air? And for instance, the fly B, the projection B1 and B2 corresponds to the same area seen by the cameras. So the correlation of the local correlation of the image may give a good performance. So this is exactly the principle. So the idea was to put a population of points into the I don't know if you see my arrow, my pointer. You can initialize the system with a set population of points that are inside the common area of the view cone of the two cameras, and then thanks to an evolutionary genetic algorithm that is very simple, you can evolve the flies so that they stick onto the visible object of the scene. So, okay. So here we have an algorithm that provides a solution as the whole population. And the system is very simple, but it's due to the fact that the way we formulate it is really straightforward. So with this, we were able to do obstacle detection for cars that were moving. We were able to do robot navigation by SLAM, simultaneous location and modeling of the environment, where we evolved this is the image of a robot in a maze, and we evolve the population is moving in the same time as the robot moves, and it allows to progressively reconstruct the obstacle in the environment of the robot. So in a way, we were able to do quick and dirty calculations, which was new, for instance, in the domain of steering vision. And we were able also to make progressive refinements with those techniques. So we were able to do, for the car application, we were able to do real-time evolutionary algorithms, which was something very useful and very challenging. This technique was also applied in medical imaging with a colleague of mine, Frank Vidal, who is now professor at the Bangor University. He has developed the same fly algorithm, but for PET and SPECT tomography. So, for instance, for positron emission tomography, he was using a population of flies, and he was testing also the same way if the flies, the position of the fly corresponds to what is received on the receptor torus. Okay. So this was a very convenient way to formulate the problem and to solve the problem. And what was interesting here in this application is that we set up here a way to, because actually it was as the set of the ring of captors were a bit more dense. It was more complex to test, let's say, the coherence between two projections, because there are some effects, physical effects, that interleaves the signal or the emission of one point and emission of another point. So we had to design another way to evaluate the quality of a point of a fly in this application. And so we used what we call marginal fitness, which is something that may open the way to perhaps design other problems for cooperative coevolution, single population cooperative coevolution. So this is the marginal fitness. So it's a very simple idea. Again, the idea is to measure the contribution of the individual to the whole population by calculating 2 times the fitness, one as the fitness of the whole population and one as the fitness of the whole population minus the individual. So it's something very maybe computationally expensive, but it can work. So this is a way to deal with this problem of design, and it was successful for positron for PET reconstruction. Years ago, also we were working with Mark Schonauer on this problem, and we published a paper called Polar EFS plus Parisian genetic programming equal efficient inverse problem solving, IFS inverse problem solving. This was an attempt to solve an inverse problem in fractal image compression, which is the base of fractal image compression, and we were studying the way this approach, this cooperative coevolution approach, and we call this approach Parisian because we were a set of researchers from Parisian area, just to make something a bit fashionable, but anyway. But the idea is exactly the same. And we were able here to, because the challenge was also to take into account some constraints on the system, and we were able to put some constraint at the local level, at the local of the individual, and at the global level. So. In this experiment, what was really interesting is the fact that we were able to use those 2 levels to add additional knowledge into the problem, so that makes the problem more easy to solve. So, in a way, we try to let's say explain those techniques in a quite simple scheme, which is a slight modification of the evolutionary loop. So you have the classical loop with parents, selection, mutation, and offspring that then became again parents, and so on. So when we try to do cooperative coevolution, which we call fine-grained cooperative coevolution at the end, it's the addition of this step at each generation. So it's something very simple, and it's a slight modification of the classical scheme that allow to do cooperative coevolution. But we need to be able to split our problem into uniform subproblems. That means uniform in the sense of each individual is wearing a part of the problem, and let's say the same type of part. So it corresponds to a special type of problems. And the solution is then the collection of several individuals that can be the whole population or selected subset. And the cooperation is forced to occur inside a single population. And once again, here we found that the algorithm works if we push or if we force diversity by niching techniques and so on. So we still have cooperation and diversity. So in doing those work, we have frequently a question that was asked by reviewers about, let's say, those fly algorithms and the relation between those fly algorithms with a swarm, with swarm PSO especially. So this is why a 2 years ago, we started to do some small experiments to, let's say, answer, to give a better answer to reviewers about this. So this is what I published at the last conference, Evolution Artificielle in England in last November. So the question was to compare fly algorithm, FA, with PSO, the particle swarm. Actually, let's say the simple answer is it's not the same, because FR is cooperative while PSO does not work the same and is more like classical evolutionary algorithm. So PSO is not exactly a coevolution, or it's a coevolution exactly as classical genetic algorithm is a coevolution. So, well, I recall let's say the basic scheme of a PSO here. So we have each particle that moves independently with a velocity, and they share information. So cooperation, the small part of cooperation, is done thanks to the definition of local and global best particles that influence the velocity of the individual. Okay, so it's better to compare EA versus PSO, and so it's nothing new here too. It's clear that the topology of search is different, because in PSO we have trajectories, and the information is shared thanks to the influence of a leader, one or several leaders, while genetic algorithm build genealogies, and the information is mixed thanks to crossover. So the cooperation is done thanks to crossover. So we have different trajectories, and of course, perhaps some of those schemes work better on different applications. So nothing new here. So the balance between intensification and diversification is also different, because we have a selection that is cutting the trajectories to keep a fixed site position, while in a classical PSO there is no selection. So is it possible to build a cooperative PSO? This is the next question. So then we try to, I don't say we have done this the best way, but we try a solution which was to not use a global best individual, but only the P best, so local, and we were using the marginal fitness as local fitness. So here we try to assess if an individual is contributing in a positive or negative way to the swarm. And this way we have something that can be compared to PSO and to fly algorithm. So we have done some let's say parallel between the two algorithms. Co-PSO looks very simple, because as we were not specialists of co-PSO, maybe we have done something a bit too schematic, but let's say to get the idea, we try to make the parallel here. Okay, so on the contrary, as soon as we have put some, let's say, cooperative coevolution into the PSO, we also can try to see if we are able to give swarm features, so the interesting features or the powerful features of swarms, into a fly algorithm. So it's possible also. And we have built what we call the genealogical mutation, that imitates the influence of the local best individual on the individual. And it works like a memory. And so the idea was to keep track of the best ancestor of the trajectory of the individual. So the trajectory in a fly algorithm, in a genetic algorithm, is a sort of tree. So we keep track of the best of the ancestors, and we add a velocity vector. Then we can add really an influence, or put the influence of the local best into the let's say the mutation operator. Well, but once we have that, we have two operators, so it's difficult to see if, well, to tune and so on. So we have built an adaptive scheme to balance genealogical and Gaussian mutation. Okay. Well, using a 1/5 rule and so on. So let me accelerate because I think I'm talking, I'm running out of time or not. I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm going quick.
I'm sorry, but yes.
Yes. So now, if we want to know how those algorithms work, we need to build a benchmark. So this question of benchmark is also a big issue. And well, we tested this on a LAMP problem that has been built by Alberto years ago. The idea is to lighten an area, a square area, with uniform lamps, and the problem size can be, and the difficulty of the problem size can be related to the ratio between area of the room and area of the lamp. So we can compare those. So I will skip this. I skip the table of numbers. What we can see here is that injecting QPR. So let's have a look on the, let's say, the view of global fitness reached after a set of experiments, an average global fitness reached after 100 of repetitions, and the size of the problem. So let's say the difficulty of the LAMP problem. So the size was running from 3 to 500, so really large instances. And we can see that if we add cooperation into the PSO, we have an improvement in the scalability behavior. And also, well, the subtle crossover between PSO and SFA, I think I have no time to elaborate on this because I want to conclude. But remember that in doing this, we improved the scalability behavior of the algorithm. Okay, let's skip this. So let's say to conclude, we have tried to force cooperation inside another algorithm that is the PSO, and we have improved the scalability. Well, let's go to the conclusion of my talk because I think it's more important. So cooperation has attractive properties. First of all, we have algorithms that are, let's say, more sustainable in a way, because running an algorithm while maintaining a population along the generations and saying at the end, my solution is only the best individual of my population, I get rid of all the other individuals, is some sort of waste. Because, of course, when pushing a population onto a landscape, a fitness landscape, allows to get a lot of information that we don't care at the end. So, well, so in doing this, we were able to go to real-time evolutionary algorithms. So it's something that is quite noticeable. We were also able to manage constraint at different levels, local and global, which is important, interesting. We were able also to do progressive computations, And we were able to have something that works with very large instances. So it's very attractive. So here, what are, let's say, the open questions here? Is it remains the design, as you may perhaps guess. Each time we want to use a cooperative algorithm, we have to think very, very deeply of how we need to build the algorithm, where we need to put the fitness function, and how we make run the classical algorithm with the setup, the cooperative co-evolution setup. So it's a difficult issue. And the question is, this notion of group selection is very interesting. And for the moment, I did not see clearly how we could really implement this in a classical GA. So perhaps we need to modify the scheme. The question of benchmarking, we have proposed a LAM problem, but of course, we need to build or to share benchmarks in order to let's say compare like other benchmarks that are used in the community. So I think we need to build a benchmark for cooperative techniques. And of course, it asks the question of if we want to understand our tune or algorithm, we need to visualize the behavior. And for the moment, it's very problem dependent. So do we have possibilities to do that? And of course, going back to my first question, and let's say the PhD I'm currently advising, is it possible to, let's say, intricate the interaction with crowds inside those algorithms? Because I think it's a challenging question. And of course, also, there's a bunch of work I did not talk about, which is what is done in evolutionary robotics to understand cooperation, where they try to solve very practical problems. So I think it's something also in some direction, but it's very interesting, perhaps, for us. Well, and also there are also terrible questions about theory, because I try to think about how we could apply classical theoretical approach to cooperative coevolution. I have the feeling that Markov chains approach, Markov chain models can be adapted to some cooperative coevolution frameworks, for instance, with the marginal fitness. I think it's possible, but did not try because I had no time for the moment. And I think we need to investigate the role of diversity also theoretically. And just as at the end, I just mentioned that in this paper of Wolfert and Thummer, they propose a mathematical framework for addressing this problem in its general form. So there is perhaps a way to do some theory specifically for cooperative coevolution. So thank you very much for your attention. And well, I would like to ask you a question, which is, what do you think about all this? Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Hello.
Thank you for this interesting perspectives on algorithm, and not the invitation to consider the population as more than some of us related individuals. We have maybe time for one or two very short questions because.
Sorry, I was a bit too long.
Okay, one short question. I see the chair of the closing session nodding.
Sorry.
Yes, okay. Let's go. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you. Fascinating talk. Thanks very much. The marginal fitness, you're finding the fitness of the individual's contribution. So there must be a difference between ones who are positively contributing and ones who are negatively contributing. And how do you differently treat the negative contributing ones? Do you cull those or re-educate them or what?
Oh, there are different strategies, but the most useful strategy we found is to, thanks to the marginal fitness, then we were able to just use a very simple selection process that use, let's say, a threshold, which is 0 or a bit more than 0, and get rid of the bad individuals of the population. So it's a very convenient way to have a threshold that is easy to fix. And that was the advantage. The disadvantage is that it's sometimes long to compute. That's it.
Okay. Another instant question, or we close the session? Okay, then thank you again, Evelyn.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And don't move. Now is the closing session. We'll all the awards, announcements, and etc., etc.
Thank you, Mark. So just give us a second to change presentation so that we can move on to the closing session. Okay. Put it on play, put it on play. Yes. I'm standing here so that you cannot see the awards. Yeah. Can you put the second screen here? No, well, it's fine, it's fine. If it's possible, if not. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Gio. So all good things come to an end, and so comes EvoStar. But before we finish, we still have some business to attend. So how do I change the slides? Well, it will work. So this is the closing session for EvoStar, and we have quite a few awards to give. Of course, the first award that we already gave yesterday at the dinner is the award for outstanding contributions to evolutionary computation in Europe. This has a long list of winners since 2006, and the new old croc is Mengi. Oh, there you are, Mengi. Congratulations for winning the award. Here you are. Thanks a lot. And also awards that have already been given. We also gave the Julian Francis Miller Award. It's an award that was given for the first time this year, and you are welcome to nominate people for this award. This year's award went to Susan Stepney. Susan. And of course, you already knew about this. Most people that are here, at least some, are waiting for the best paper awards. I'm also waiting to know the results because I don't know them. Anna. So Anna is going to distribute this. And if you are nominated, please be ready to receive the award. We are very short of time, so you need to run to the stage, pick the award, take a photograph and run again. It's if you take too long, somebody else will get the award. That's how it works.
And also the award certificates are not signed, so you have to take a picture to get it signed and post it on Instagram, Twitter, and everything. Okay, so okay, so no, I stop. Okay, so we have the EuroGP nominations. All those great people. Thank you very much to all. And the winner is. Where are the chairs for EuroGP, please? Can you come run? Can you run? Where's Giselle, please? All the other chairs, please get ready because this is going to be quick. Okay? Okay, so the winner is Julia Sanas Hami Fabian. Where's Julia? Get on that on the other side, no? For the picture. Quick, quick. Where's the picture? Who takes the picture? Quick, quick. Okay. Okay, you got it, Joan? You got the picture? Okay. So you have to sign it. Quick. You have to sign, but go. Okay. Evo apps, sorry. You have to bring it from. Okay. Okay, Evo apps nominations. Where's Joan, Steven? Where's Steven? Okay, we have all these fantastic people nominated, and the winner is Stefano Sarti. Woo!
I'm taking the picture.
Okay, Thomas, can you come down? Next, we go with EvoCop nominations. So get ready to run, those who are there. Okay. And the winner is Rupert, Mark, and Gunther. Oops. It's yours. So, Nereida and Colin, are you ready? Okay. So we go on with Mozart nominations. And the winner is Jessica, Luis, Tiago, João Miguel, Penusal. Again. Hold on, I have to give you a t-shirt afterwards. Just remind me. Oh, Tiago, finally Tiago gets a t-shirt. No, Penusal doesn't get it, no. Okay. So Next one, we are going with the best poster. This year is this is a new award. Previously, we had the best student poster. Now it's everybody who submits a poster can have the award. Also, the ones with long talks can submit an optional poster if they want. And we had 3 shortlisted posters, which are these ones here from Andreana, Tobias, and Harald. We have Christopher and Daniel Lopez, Joao, and Penusal again. Jesus Christ. And these are the 3 shortlisted. We want to mention them because there were so many posters in the session, but there's only one winner. And the winner is Andreana, Tobias, Harald, and Thea. Hold on. Let me just find that. Okay, this one. Okay, just take a picture with me, okay? Just... Yes, who signs it? Pelusa? Me, okay. I'll notice it. When I give you your t-shirt, you'll get it, okay? I don't know if I want to mention the anonymous jury, because that means next year we can reuse the same jury. It will be kept anonymous. Well, as Mario is saying, we had an anonymous jury. There was no public vote and anything, but the jury consisted of 5 people, 4 people. And they just went about pretending to be normal people. And but they shortlisted these 3 posters. So it's, sorry? You want, no, because I want Mark to be juror next year too, right? So we want to keep that anonymous, okay? Well, the rest of you are getting it, Wolfgang. Anyway, next one. New thing this year, well, it's not new. We already had this in Amsterdam. So the scavenger hunt involved doing a number of tasks, the most important of which was, as you know, rewriting the lyrics of Waterloo. That gave extra points. And the winners for this are Julia, Tobias, Jessica, Parente, and Luis. Wow! Just find that. And you get, for this, you get a lovely mug. And okay, hold on. Picture of this. Go. A picture with your mug. Alrighty. You get a t-shirt afterwards too. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you. Hold on to that. And next one. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're okay. Next one. I would like to mention the outstanding students. So if you can come all here for the picture, I have certificates for you all. Also, there is one that didn't get his t-shirt in time. Ah, there you are. Okay, so. All right. Okay. Can you start distributing, Ali, please? What? Ah, okay. You have to wear the t-shirt.
I have to wear it. Okay.
Tobias there. Okay. All righty. So. Go. Get your thing. Okay. Righty. Okay.
Go.
Go. Wait. So I'll repeat the rules for becoming an outstanding student is getting your paper with a score higher than 2 or be nominated for Best Paper Award and register for the conference. Okay, so anybody can do that. No, you have to be a student, sorry. Okie doke. Now, this is a new thing this year as well. The less than 3 minutes video challenge. By the way, I haven't mentioned the beautiful designs that are being made by Sergio, our fantastic designer. So all these, all the logos and everything, it's him. So please give him a round of applause because he's wonderful. We have 6 videos submitted. One was just submitted last night. The other 5 got a t-shirt because they were earlier. Thank you very much. All of them are uploaded in the Species YouTube channel and in the Instagram account. So please go and have a look at them because then you can learn about what the younger generations are doing with research. All of them were submitted to the EvoStar category, which means they describe the research that the person is doing at the time. We have the other category, species, is about describing evolutionary computation concepts. So maybe this one is more for the older people, right? But you can do a video as well and teach people the things that you would say normally in your presentations. Do them try to do them in less than 3 minutes. Okay, so the winner for this is Ahmed Barakli, who is there somewhere, I think. Yes, and no, we don't have that. There's nothing for you yet because it was decided. Anyway, Ahmed is getting a nice thing, which is a picture with me, and also an Amazon voucher for 200 euros. So that's not too bad, is it? So just produce your videos and submit them, please, for next year. Thank you very much, Ahmed. Hold on. You get a mug. What? The certificate later. Okay, sorry. And there is one award that we haven't mentioned. I don't think it's in the presentation either. No, it's not. Okay, so this is a very specific award. It's called the EvoStar Dissemination Award. And it goes to the person or robot that has made the most contribution to the EvoStar Wikipedia page. And this year, the award goes to William Benjamin Langdon, also known as W102102. So here's your award. Thank you very much. We're running short. Hurry up, man. Hurry up. You don't have time. Come on. Okay, so thank you. Okay. You get a t-shirt for this. Another.
My friends.
This is for you. Okay.
No more awards, Bill.
Big box here.
Okay. It's still, why is everybody getting a t-shirt but me? Okay, other news since 2022, stuff that we have been doing. So let's start with the species scholarships. We began awarding scholarships 3 years ago. So far, we have awarded 16 scholarships. And these scholarships are producing interesting results. For instance, one of the winners today, the paper results from the work during one of those stays. So this is very gratification to species to be able to support young researchers and yeah. Okay, well, we'll do it. And promoting the work on evolutionary computation in Europe. So if you want to host a student, you need to apply. Here's the deadline, 15th of May. And once institutions apply, we post them on the web, and then students can apply to go to one of these institutions. And by the way, the person to talk to is Christine Zarges, which has been running the scholarships since the beginning and making these things possible. So Christine is over there. Feel free to send her an email if you need. Okay? Thanks, Christine. Currently, these are the scholarships going on. So Francesco, Jessica, Sergio, and Georgia is starting later, but still in this year. And if the scholarships have a planned duration of 3 months. So if you want, you can even split this into without problems, okay? But there is still time to apply and so on. These are from last year. Other important things. So the summer school, we are doing the summer school again this year. And again, it will be in Moreira in Spain in the beginning of September, 3 to 9, right? 3 to 9 of September. The calls will be out soon. They are still not out. Again, lots of interesting things resulted from last year's summer school, including some publications. So this is a very nice opportunity, and those that have been there are telling me great things about the scholarship, the summer school. So hopefully you will have the opportunity to participate. And this is open to students, but it's also for mentors. If you are interested in becoming a mentor, feel free to contact Anna Sparcia, which is about to kill me, and propose a topic. Other things going on. Aniko Eckert is editing a journal. This continues our collaboration with Springer. It has going on for more than 25 years now, I believe, maybe 26 to be precise. And selected authors will be contacted by Aniko Eckert, which should be there somewhere, but I cannot see. Oh, there she is. So again, if you want, you can contact Aniko directly, but most likely she will be sending you an email. There is other announcements to do. We will launch a survey. You'll receive an email from Anna with a link to a survey. Please fill in the survey. We are doing the surveys to get feedback, and we are really read the comments and act based on those comments. So please fill it up. It's very important for us to get your feedback. Last but not least, I need to tell you what's going on later on. Don't forget, this event is organized by Species. Species is a society for promotion of evolutionary computation in Europe and surroundings, because we needed an S. If you are here, you are a member of Species. We really need new blood. We need more involvement for people, and the general meeting will be today at 2:15. So we need to rush, otherwise there is no time, because then there is the Friday excursion that is starting at 15:15. And Anna,
15:50 at the museum.
15:50.
Finishing the meeting at 15:15.
Okay.
Unless you teletransport, you want me to...
I can try to teletransport, but I will be not attending this, so I'm not sure it's useful. So we have some slack, but please try not to be late. And I think there is, yes, we are missing a few awards because there are so many that just two awards. So
It's the same award. Okay. This year also, the novelty was that the best student doesn't get best poster award, but a best student paper award that was decided by also a committee. This can be non-anonymized, but okay. Well, Kehinde Bagba was in charge, but she's not here at the moment, so she cannot do it. Anyway, we may start with the runner-up. The best student paper award runner-up goes to Rupert Ettrich, who is here somewhere. Okay. And the best student paper award goes to Stefano Sarti. Where is he? Okay. Okay, so and no.
Oh. So finally, next year, EvoStar. And this year we have been lucky. We have two amazing candidates to organize EvoStar 2024. One of the candidates is Trieste, and beautiful proposal, amazing proposal presented by Luca Manzonic, Eric, and Georgia that should be around here somewhere. There they are. Well done, congratulations. And a second proposal, also fantastic proposal to go to Ever something. Sorry, Christine, I cannot pronounce it. Also a fantastic proposal. And the fact that we had these two amazing proposals is great. And we managed to get a nice and easy solution for this. For a long time, we want to plan EvoStar in advance. So today I'm announcing not only EvoStar 2024, but also EvoStar 2025. And this means that in 2024, we are going to have something, and 25 to 3 years. Okay? So, congratulations to both. Congratulations to both. So last but not least, we need to thank the people that made all of this possible. And I would like to begin by our amazing invited speakers, Marek Vash, Evelyn Luton, and Susan Stephanie. It was really amazing and really inspiring to have you here. We also have the conference chairs, are lots and lots of conference chairs, special session chairs, and so on. I'm not going to name them all. I also don't know why two of them are in yellow, but they identify as such, I guess.
Because you repeated the name, I meant for you to delete it.
Oh. There you have the explanation. It's easier to highlight in yellow than to delete, apparently. They are very important, so I named them twice, obviously. So we also have the EvoStar graphic identity team and the publicity share. João, Sergio, thanks a lot. I know how much work you have done and how much it takes to publicize and run this event. The fantastic e-task force, including Anna, Francisco, and Nuno Lorenzo. And I'm forgetting to, we applaud to everybody in the end, okay? Because otherwise you'll be clapping all along. We also have new people on board the EvoStar Student Affairs team. They have made an amazing job, and they are really helping EvoStar becoming even better than it was. And of course, we need to thank the amazing local team made by Lucas Secanina, Giri Jaros, and of course, all their crew. So let's clap. You guys. Let the local team should come to stage, I think. So I guess this is almost all I have to say. So don't forget the satisfaction survey, and that's all on my part. I really hope to see you next year and also in 2025. Okay. Bye-bye.
Hello? Those of you wanting a t-shirt,